Okay, guys, so our last lesson with this chapter, I think, is inequalities, and it's really not difficult. Okay, it starts really easy. Okay, right? Let's just start by solving an equality, an equation. Okay, 2x minus 1 equals 0. I mean, that is grade 8, isn't it? What should we do?
Move the negative 1 over.
So 2x equal 1, and that means
divide by 2 on the other side.
x equal half. Okay, that's the solution. Okay. Now, inequalities are just like equalities, but instead of equal sign, we have an inequality sign. What does that mean? What does that little Pac-Man mean? What does that mean? Which one is greater, the left side or the right side? That means the left side is greater than the right side. This is important. I don't think everyone knew that when we started. This side is greater than this. It kind of makes sense. This is the biggest side. And this one, which one is greater? The right side is greater than the left side, but you're right, it could be all equal. That means you all equal. Okay? Let me just make sure that it's recording. It is. Okay. So how do we solve it? Exactly in the same way. There's one little difference, but it's not going to be in this. I'll show you in another example. I do the same thing. I want to keep the x on one side. All the rest must go to the other side. So I'm going to move the other side just like I did here. 2x larger than 1. The same thing here. 2x smaller or equal than 1. Divided by 2, x larger than half. Divided by 2, x smaller or equal to half. Okay? Now, in the yes.
Can you rather just put equals?
No.
For the middle one?
No, you have to write smaller or equal. You can't suddenly change it to an equal sign. Then you change the equation. Okay? Now, what you will be asked to do in the test is also to represent this with a number line. So not the other more difficult, the number line. The number line should be pretty easy. Okay? So let's actually do it for all of them. Okay? For this one, there is one answer. X must be equal to half. That's it. That's the answer. Okay? I will never really ask you to represent that in number line. But for inequalities, I will often do. And we're definitely going to do it in the test tomorrow. So what does this thing say in English? What does this thing say? X is bigger than half. So now on the number lines, okay, where is the bigger side? On the right side. The bigger side is always to the right. The smaller numbers are to the left. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a white circle and an arrow that continues. Now I must do an arrow because it goes to all the numbers. It doesn't stop at 2 or 3 or 1,000 or 1,000,000. It carries on. Why white circle? Because it doesn't include half. Half is not an option here. Okay? 0.5 is not an option. 0.5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 is in. But 0.5 is not.
Will you put an X on the number line? On the number line.
You don't have to. No, you don't have to. No. Okay. Now, what about that one? How are we going to represent that?
A black dot.
A black dot, because it includes half, and in which direction? To the left, right? Because we're looking at all the smaller numbers in half. Are we happy with that? That's pretty easy. Okay, let's pause here, move to something trickier. Alright, guys, now we're going to make things a little bit more complicated. Sorry, it does happen, but not much more. So now I've got x's on both sides. I do the same thing, almost all the way the same. But how should I solve for x?
Move all the x's to 1.
Okay, where should we move all the x's? Yeah.
Which?
Left. To the right?
The left.
Then you can have X on
Okay.
its own and 4
I like the idea that you're moving it to the right. I would personally do it, but for now I'm going to move it to the left like Luana said, because I want to show you what will happen if you move it to the left. Something that we need to learn, which is a little bit different to the rest of the stuff. Did I press play? Okay, hang on. So how are we going to move it to the left? Do I know anyone? So what do I need to minus? Subtract 3x minus 3x. So I'm going to have, what is 2x minus 3? Minus x.
Plus.
And okay, that's right. Plus 1, we'll do it slowly. Smaller or equal to? Negative 4. Okay. What should we do now?
Take the 1 over to.
So minus x, smaller or equal to? Minus 5. Yeah, you're right.
And then x.
Okay. Okay. What should I do now? Okay. I'm not going to ask you, but what do you reckon we should do now? You're right. So I need to multiply. How do I get rid of this minus? How do I get rid of this minus?
Times by minus.
I need to time it by -1. So if you just believe what I told you and you say you do the same thing, like I mean if I had minus x equal -5, then how would we write it?
X equals 5.
X equal 5. So if you followed my advice, you would just say x is smaller or equal to 5.
Yeah.
But if you do that, you'll be wrong. When we multiply by -1, we must swap the sign. We just must swap the sign. I'm going to write it down. I want you to write it down. So when we multiply by -1, why am I putting brackets? By -1, we must, not just must, like moet. Yeah, like Afrikaans must. You know, it's a hard one, isn't it? Moet, swap sign. Okay? For now, guys, just take it with me. We're going to practice it a little bit, and then I'll give you the explanation maybe later. I think if I give you the explanation, it might confuse you a little bit. So I just want you to get comfortable with this first, okay? Let me just pause here. Okay, guys. Now, at this point, I haven't really explained to you why we have to swap the sign. Maybe I'll do it later, maybe not. It's just, it might be a bit confusing. But what I want to show you now is if you went the other way, like Hinkel did, okay? So then I want you to see what would you have to look for. So what Hinkel did, which is what I would do, I wouldn't move the minus 3x to the other side because I'm going to have negative x. So I will do minus 2x. But then what you're going to be is careful to keep the sign the same way. So you're going to have 1 smaller or equal to x minus 4. Then you will get rid of the 4. So you write 5 smaller or equal to x. And you see, think of what you didn't do is you didn't keep the sign. You just swapped them like we swap in equal. Okay? And if this was an equal sign, you could have just swapped it. If we had, okay? So that's it. So if you want to find out what is x, now you want to put x on the left side, you can't just write down the same thing here. That's wrong. You got to ask yourself, what does this thing mean? What in English, what does this line mean?
5 is smaller than x.
5 is smaller than x, or in other words, x is
Greater.
greater than 5. So you have to flip it. Okay, so whether you flip it here or whether you flip it there, you will get the same answer.
The number line, you don't include 5.
Okay, let's do the number line quick. What should I do? 5 and
Black
black dot
Only black dot.
to the right.
Oh,
Okay.
no, it's right, yeah.
Okay, right, let's pause. Let's get you to do a bit of work. Okay, right, so the last bit that you need to know inequalities is when we have two inequalities. So this is telling you something about x. What is it smaller than and what is it larger than? Okay, now to solve these things, don't be scared. There's actually two equations written, two inequalities. First thing it tells you that -5 is smaller or equal to 2x plus 1. So I'm just taking that bit. And then the second equation that it tells me is that 2x plus 1 is smaller than 5. So you just break them apart. So you've got two parts. And then you've got to solve each one of them separately, just like we've done. It's not too difficult. So here I'm going to get rid of the 1, so I'm going to say -1, so it's -6 smaller or equal to 2x. Then I'll divide by 2 to get rid of that, so I'm going to get -3 smaller or equal to x. Now, I want always the x on the left side. Can I just write x is smaller or equal than -3? I have to swap the sign because just ask yourself in English. Oinkos in Afrikaans. What does this thing say? Okay, this thing says that -3 is smaller than x. In other words, x is larger or equal to -3. So we have to swap the sign. You're right. Have to swap the sign. Now this one will be even easier. What shall I do? -1. 2x is smaller than 4. X is smaller than 2. So you see, that's it. Okay, now, we're almost done. We still need to do the number line. Just a second. But just to kind of summarize what we've done here, we just broke it to one inequality and another inequality. Treat them separately, and then maybe the tricky bit is eventually to write the number line combined. And that's what the question you ask. Sometimes you'll have two numbers. What are the two numbers that we're going to have? Okay, is this right?
No.
No, why not?
Because the bigger numbers
Negative, the smaller ones are on the left. So that's -3 and 2. What should I have now?
A
Okay,
dot.
what dot's here?
A colored
A black dot. Okay, and then here? And the line between them. Don't forget the line, because this thing tells you that x is between -3 and 2. I can also write it down. Maybe I'll show you one way you should know. So x is smaller than 2, but x is also larger than -3. We can write it down just like that. Just bear with me, guys. It's larger than 2 and smaller and it's larger than -3 or equal to, and it's smaller than 2. Okay? Alright? You need to be able to write it like that, and you need to write it like that, and you use your language skill. X is smaller than 2, and x is larger than minus or equal to -3. Okay? Can I write it like this? Okay, x is larger than -2. I can write that. I'm not going to confuse. Let's just write it like this. Always write the smaller numbers on the left. Bigger numbers on the right. Guys, good luck.
So you don't have to
Clinic
give a-
time today if you need to see me,
You
okay?
don't have to give